zu eng.
Lassen wir die Dame.
Ja, ja.
So this is the path?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
the path into the forest. And we follow this path for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then we are at the hut.
How did you find this spot? It's right next to the city, but it's not.
Yes, it's the lucky situation that in Berlin, in the center, there's a forest direct in the center. Not like a Central Park in New York, more like a real forest. You see here in this area, you can see quite far.
Not much vegetation.
Yeah. But inside this forest there is one place, it's more a hidden place. And this is where I built this house.
Wow. So you were looking just for that kind of...
It was important to not be seen because it's like not really legal to do something like this. I started building this hut 1 year ago. Before I lived in a smaller hut, so now we gotta go this way. Okay. You follow me, yeah, because now it's going to be hard to find. Before I moved back to Berlin, I was traveling as a street artist with my backpack, tent and music instrument. I had no flat here in Berlin. The first idea was to move into the forest because it's the best place to put the tent. So I put my tent in the forest, put some branches so that you cannot see the tent. A year later I bought myself a bigger tent and then I built a bigger hut with branches, and then the huts went bigger, and about 4 years ago I built a hut with real walls.
Have you had any neighbors out here, even just with tents?
No, my only neighbors are Mr. Fox and the birds, so it's very quiet in the night. Very nice.
This is something you put up, a kind of fence.
Yes, this is a fence, so
vegetation.
you cannot see the house so easily. So now we go inside this area, fence. So here we are. This is the house. This is the House of Dignity of Mankind, and they have an email account. And by this contact, the workers from the forest here did not destroy the hut. They contacted me on email and they gave me 2 weeks to remove the house.
So it took people a year to find that you were
Yes, yes.
here? Just people don't come by, don't...
Normally not. And you see all the trees here. In the summertime, everything is green and you don't see more than 5 meters.
When somebody told you needed to leave, was there a dialogue at all between you and the authorities about whether, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
there was no question you couldn't stay.
No, they never came up.
Yeah.
In the German Constitution, Article 1 is that there's the protection of the dignity of humans, humankind, and I connected this house to this article. What does a human need to live in dignity? So you can surely say you need a place to sleep, to eat and to wash. There are some tricky situations in law, and there is the right of ownership and the right of human dignity. And when both is in conflict, you can argument with this so that it's not complete illegal to do this because it is in the protection of this law for the dignity of human. And the right of ownership is not so important. And because of this argumentation, I don't get a fine. People have the right to have a home, even if it's a small home. Yeah, we got a lot of tools now. I lived in a smaller hut where you had to really go on your knees to get inside, and I wanted to have a little bit better space. This is my bed. I'm very happy because in the other situations before I was sleeping on this camping mattress, and especially the ones that are filled with air, you can forget about this. After 2 weeks, it gets flat, and It's when I bought this mattress, it was nice to have something to very soft and to yes,
And sit
and
up.
big enough. Yes,
And you can sit up.
yeah, I can
Right?
sit up.
Yeah.
And yes, because I built it like this. You know, it's not really high enough, but you can sit here, and when you are at home, you're not standing so much, so it's not so bad that you cannot stand, but you can sit here and do everything right, and here you can sit and play guitar and
How
do
about the
paintings.
very cold winter days?
Winter here is like a little bit a borderline situation, because I'm heating with this oven. It's working with candles, like these small candles. You put them here, and then it's heating up this flower pot. So when there is outside minus 10 degrees, when you put here about 5 candles and you are below the blankets, it's warm enough so that you don't freeze and you can sleep. But you see the breath, and also the air gets a little bit wet, so it's not very good for the hut. But you can survive it with this. But it's not very comfortable in the winter.
5 candles.
Yes.
With 5 candles, you are sure you go to sleep and you say, I am fine.
Yes, yes. It's not making anything comfortable inside, but it's heating enough so that you don't die by freezing. Normally, it's like, especially in wintertime, I only sleep here, and then I go to a cafe.
What did you use for a light source?
I use these lamps that you have in a hut.
Camping headlight kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also working with battery. I found also on the street. We have very good streets here in Berlin. Battery is empty now.
You built this using obviously no electricity. I mean, it was all manual.
I have a drill with
battery power.
Battery power, yes.
I love the glass.
I found it in the street, and it's quite heavy, but I got it here. It's funny to sit inside the hut and then you see children walking by the window and then, hey, look at this, that's the house, what is this? Ah, there's someone inside, what is he doing here? Is he living here? What's that?
Was this a choice that you made because you couldn't find housing, or you really made a choice that you wanted to live in the forest?
It's like more or less a combination of both situations.
Is this your part of your work?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You see who she is?
That's the Mona Lisa, but that's not.
Okay, it's the Mona Lisa. I was looking for a flat, but the people say you must make 3 times more as money as the cost from the flat. For me, this is out of reach. Yeah.
Well, you don't have a traditional salary.
Yeah, I do sculptures on the street, like big sculptures, and there's also a difficult situation because I have now a trial with the German, some kind of police, but not the police, something lower. They look that you park in the right way, and I have a trial with them now. And I got 4 letters from them. It's for a street art that I do to. And now it's at the courtyard. It is this box here. This is my refrigerator. I don't know how it's looking inside. I did not use it for a long time. Yes, this is my refrigerator. It's not as good as a real fridge, but a little bit better than keeping these materials in the house. Below there is plates from material that I found on the street. I bought a little bit stuff from the construction markets. Most of it I found on the street, or I asked people if they give this for free. For example, all these plates from outside that makes a little bit isolation. I get from the market. Sometimes they drop on the floor and the corner is broken, and then they give it away for free because they cannot sell it. So I'm very lucky with this material situation. I don't get any rain through. It's a strong plastic material, and then this material for roofs covered with forest design material.
Was that for camouflage, or?
Yes, for camouflage.
Yeah. So when people walk by,
Yeah.
they.
Yeah.
But it also looks good, I think.
It does, doesn't it? It looks a bit like a hobbit home in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Insider.
Always when I came into the forest and the hut was still there and no one discovered it, I was happy. But also now that it is discovered, because of so many people helping to find a new place, I'm not really sad about it. And here you see there are a lot of people here reporting on the story. Because of articles, many people noticed. So now I have visitors.
You do, exactly. Wow. Because you reached out to the Tiny Foundation?
We met, I think, Friday last week, and I read his email that he's searching for a new ground for his house, for the house of the dignity of man. And we as a Tiny Foundation, like, our main topic is the right to live in the city, and I love that he connected the question of housing and the right to the city to the question of the dignity of man, which is guaranteed in Article 1 of the German Constitution. So that's exactly our topic, and I thought it would be a perfect match. We have to start.
Great.
We really get the screwdrivers and start moving your house. I told Tom we will have a ground for your house, which will be a trailer, and we would like to hire you as a consultant and as the first inhabitant of our tiny house community.
Loses Zeug schon mal hier reinpacken?
Tom was immediately, can I say that? And like we both loved the idea of putting his house on a trailer. Because it's Tom's house at the moment, but like you want to move to a bigger house maybe where you can stand also.
Ach ja.
So we have loads of volunteers who participated, who made a crowdfunding in a few days, raised a few €100 so we can buy a trailer. It will be kind of a puzzle to reassemble everything. But he already marked the parts that are visible and that were accessible. So probably we're going to move everything out of the house, then start with the roof, put on the trailer and hopefully start reassembling it tomorrow at the spot where we will have electricity and other people around helping. Tom, wie hast du das alles hier hingekarrt mit dem Bollerwagen?
Ja.
Okay. So you had a hand wagon putting all this in the forest. He told you like about 2 weeks. He started 9 p.m. until 2 in the night or so, building this thing. Yeah, but that's how he did it. It's a bit burnt from the candle oven.
Usually people have stuff like this in the basement, so it's not too much.
We have a big problem with gentrification in Berlin and with people who have to leave their houses because of extremely expensive rents and so on. What do we feel when people have to leave their homes because they can't pay their rent anymore? What is it that is hurt? And I think it's the dignity of man. It's basically the dignity of man. So Tom made the missing link also for me in my head.
It's very diverse. So by the question, what is this dignity of humankind? What do you need to live in dignity? So you can surely say you need a place to sleep, to eat and to wash. So when you don't have a home and a place to wash, you start to smell and no one wants to talk with you.
Yeah.
Are you able to wash here?
I can put 3 bottles of water on the roof, and when it's summer it gets hot and I put it on my body. It's a very simple way to wash, but it works. And in the winter time I go to, they have showers, I take shower there.
I think they're quite sympathetic to him, like the forest guards. They, of course, they have to urge him to move out of the forest. Yeah. But like they are not pissed or something. Like they gave him time for 1 month to do the whole thing.
It's a clash between property rights and right.
It might be property rights, but it's also the forest law in Germany, which is quite strong. In Germany, it's only allowed to camp in the forest in cases of emergency. Even if you have a garden and you have some trees, and maybe you come back 20 years later, you might have a forest, and then you wouldn't be allowed to touch the trees.
Because they will be protected.
Yes, by the German forest law, to camp in there, you're not allowed to sleep in the forest.
It's not like in Scandinavia.
Where you may also stay on private ground, right? I think they just have another culture of being in the forest, of being outside. So they just have another perspective on nature. I think they consider it more to be part of their home. And for the Germans, I think it's more separated entities. So they have their home, and then they go to the forest to breathe, and then they go home again. The dignity of man is like the first article, the most basic article in the German constitution, and I think we should be talking more about the dignity of man and less about how we could hide away the homeless. I think it's defined by living it and by showing it, and I feel it's definitely touched if we force people out of their homes, or if we don't give them the opportunity to take part in life and in society. And society happens in the city nowadays a lot, so we as a tiny foundation, we said our topic is the right to the city, to live in the city, and the right to community also.
Kann ich die anfassen?
Ja, an der Stange.
Ja.
Also for art, I prefer more to do art with people, because when you do art and no one see your art, it's like becoming boring. Doing sculptures in the forest and no one see, it not make very much sense.
So that's the name of the house.
Your word?
The house of the dignity of man. This also gives an identity to the house, right? So it makes a house to have this on the door. I think it's changing everything.
And sure, it is also somehow illegal to build a house somewhere in the forest. But I think it's more illegal to treat people like shit, so they have to sleep on the street. Okay, sometimes people treat themselves a little bit shitty because they don't take care for their own life. It's a little bit in the discussion of philosophic ways, but yes.
Do you think this changes like what your house is? Like you wrote the house, der würde das Menschen, and your email address. Do you think it would be different if this wouldn't be on the door?
Yes, for sure. I think so.
Yeah, because it makes
it interests a lot of people, this discussion of what is dignity.
And this is like identity, and this is communication. So you're available. It's able to communicate with you, and so words change, terms change, words change over time, and they change by their usage and how people live them.
So you wouldn't consider Tom homeless because he has a home?
I wouldn't consider him homeless. For example, he doesn't fit into this category, but he surely doesn't fit into the category of having an apartment or having a house. So he's somewhere in between.
Okay.
So this is a roof, huh?
And what now is taking place is a little bit the kind of transformation. First it was only my home, and now it's going to be an art project, object for the public.
We put it on a trailer, it doesn't have to hide anymore. And I love that idea that the House of Dignity of Man doesn't have to hide anymore, it's not illegal anymore. We put it on a trailer into legality and we show it to the public. And now we're starting to build a community, so maybe this could be an idea to have more people who don't fit into the categories that we have, and maybe create new categories with them building a community and experimenting with this. If we have the static approach to mankind to humans. Like for me, that's like killing also what could be possible and what we could develop together. Being homeless, it's not a dead end. It's not like those people are not like it doesn't have to be the end of their lives.
This is the inside of this house now. And as you can see, it's very narrow. Not a lot of space in here. I already started building a new home, which is a little bit bigger.